It's live?
You're live.
Okay, I'm live. Hello, everybody. It's me, it's Tessa Bailey. Thank you for coming. I have notes here because I'm so nervous. It'll wear off in a few minutes. So yes, thank you for coming. Yes, I'm wearing lipstick, but you should know that I have sweatpants on. So it's business up top and then party downstairs. So don't feel like your pajamas are make you underdressed or anything. But I hope everybody has a drink. I have my Heineken Light here. Pretty much a daily imbibement for me. So may all your ups and downs be under the covers. Cheers. Okay, so Boiling Point released this week. I have a lovely paperback copy here that we're going to give away to someone who asks questions during the hour, and I'm really excited about it. You guys, the response has been pretty cool, different than my other books. Seems like everybody was a little surprised by Austin and his sort of like handing over the reins to Polly and how that all came together, and I was surprised too. So I want to answer all your questions about that. And we actually, okay, I should explain really quickly. Over on the left side of the screen, there's a button that says Q&A, so hit that, and then you should be able to see like a little panel on the right side of the screen that shows all the questions that I'm going to answer. So go ahead and just like fire away. Nothing's off limits. Go ahead and ask personal questions or questions about books or nothing medical. I'm not a doctor. Don't ask me about your rash. I feel like anybody would do that. Okay, I hear my husband out there. I hope he's not eavesdropping. Okay, so we have the first question from Kim Clower. Hi, lady. I know Kim. I met her at Wicked Book Weekend last year. We had barbecue together. Yeah. So we're friends for life. When you barbecue with somebody, that's it. Okay, so she says, hi, Tessa. You've said that Boiling Point was somewhat of a challenge for you to write. What was the most difficult scene or portion of the book to write, and why? So I think the most difficult part of the book was the scene where Polly finds out that Austin used to work with Charles Reitman, the man who ripped off her fathers, and I guess the hardest part was like trying to make it okay for her to stay after that, because she was such a strong woman. She is such a strong woman. I'm talking to her like she's real. She is. That having that knowledge and still staying with Austin was going to be a real challenge for her. So I think that was the most difficult part for me, was making it okay for her. And a lot of that really is why Austin's submissiveness kind of took effect, because my brain was like, okay, I have to find a way to justify this for Polly, and it turned out to be Austin kind of handing over this power to her that made it okay. So yeah, I mean, there's such a push and pull between the characters that it's like one character goes this way and you have to find a way to move them the character this way. That's a great visual. Really cool story, Tessa. So yeah, that was probably the most difficult part of the story. So I would like to read something from chapter 13 while you guys get your questions up, because chapter 13 is pretty popular. So I'm just going to go ahead and start. Okay. Okay. And make sure you guys are typing your questions on the right-hand side of the screen. Okay. Okay. Because I don't have any questions right now. I don't have any questions to answer. Okay. Take your shirt off, she ordered, in a voice she wished held more command. Austin's masculine hands working the buttons of his shirt was nothing short of artwork. He released each one with an audible pop, eyes trained on her, like some kind of sleek, pleasure-giving machine. Cocky, but visibly starved for her next direction, transfixed by her. The combination of arrogance and need was an assault on her senses, compelling her closer. But she remained still until his shirt drifted to the floor. Pants? No, she answered, shaking her head. After taking a moment to savor the power of standing above Austin, she bent forward, sliding her hands up his strong thighs, and stopped just short of his distended fly. I'll be taking care of you below the waist. Okay. I have a question. So, okay, let me put this over here. I'll pick that up if I run out again. Let me see. So I marked this one answered. I don't know. Answered questions. Okay, so this one comes from Shili Juarez. I hope I'm pronouncing your first name right, Shili. I'm not quite sure how to word this, but your male characters speak in the most gloriously dirty way that I've ever read. How do you get into that headspace and continually come up with new, addictive, dirty speak? Well, I don't know. I've said before when people ask me about the dirty talking that I am a dirty talker, and I am. You could ask my husband. It's kind of my thing. You know, it's like kind of my thing, and it makes the love scene for me. When I was 14 and I picked up a romance novel, my first romance novel, I skipped right to the dialogue for some reason. I always like kind of skimmed through the sex scenes and stopped on what the hero was saying. And I think that it's so sexy because their filter is removed and they're saying exactly what they're thinking. And I think that's something that's so rare now. We don't know what men are thinking anymore. They're, you know, I mean, they don't know what we're thinking, God knows, but I like it when a man tells you what he's thinking, says what's on his mind, and doesn't, you know, play games with you. And I think that's what's so sexy about the dirty talking. It's not something I have to think about. It's just very much in the moment when I'm writing a scene. Yeah, I don't really know where it comes from though, but it's my favorite part. And I will come up with lines in the middle of the night and write them down on my phone sometimes, but then I get to the moment and it doesn't work. So yeah, it has to be in the moment. It can't be something I think about beforehand or anything like that. I hope that answers your question. I'm a dirty talker. That's the answer. So it's just easy for me. It kind of comes on the fly. But I'm glad you enjoy it. So, okay, I have a question from Lisa. Hi, Lisa. Lisa's really funny. I think I'm wondering if she's like a stand-up comedian or something. She's really good at those caption contests that I put up. And I think there's a picture of her with like a microphone. So I'm just wondering, very mysterious, Lisa. Okay, so she was wondering if Polly's lemonade lotion is based on real lotion. No, I wish it was. I would have some. Somebody actually asked me that about Abby's scent in Make Me. They said, why don't she, white grape sunlight was the scent I gave her, which is like, who knows what that smells like, you know, who knows. But somebody did find it. Someone found white grape sunlight. I think it was Serena. She's in my Bailey's Babes group. And she was like, we should buy it. And I was like, yeah. And then I forgot all about it till right now. So I better write that down. White grape sunlight. Okay. So let's see. Lisa has done stand-up, by the way. I was right. Okay, so Read Love Blog is asking, which is my friend Jillian. Hi, Jillian. Is asking, what was your most gut-wrenching scene to write ever? I don't know. I think there's probably one in every book. In Boiling Point, it was probably, wow, that's a hard question. I think that the one that comes to mind is in Risking It All, actually, with Bowen, when, you know, the scene where he takes Sarah to Ruby's warehouse and leaves her and ties her up to the radiator pipe or something, yeah, with the twist tie, and he thinks that she's betrayed him and that she's been working for the other team this whole time, and he has to and he's like, I loved you, don't you know I could never hurt you, I love you, and he's like not even coherent, and I think that was probably that's probably the most gut-wrenching scene I've ever had to write. And then like immediately following that in the same book, when he thinks that Sarah's left, and then she runs back to him in the alleyway, and they have this glorious, passionate lovemaking against the brick wall. That was pretty gut-wrenching too. Everybody's professing their love to Bowen. Yay! Okay, where am I? Yes, that was awesome. What was my most gut-wrenching scene in Boiling Point? I'm trying to think. Oh, it was definitely the scene where Austin was tied to the chair, chapter 13. And he's pushed to the point of saying that, spoiler alert, he's pushed to the point of saying that, you know, he doesn't have anything else to offer Polly, but his physical skill, you know, sexual skill. And it kind of busts the door wide open on Austin at that point for Polly. And yeah, that was I had fun during that scene though. I shouldn't even say that was gut wrenching. I was like ready to nail him to the wall because he had it coming. So okay, that's my answer. If that made any sense. Okay, let me see. All right, I see. Ooh, Mickey's asking me, what was your last unputdownable book? Looking over at my bookshelf. Wow. I mean, I think like every book I read kind of yanks me in. I know I've said this a million times, but Charlotte Stein is like my favorite author, and I can't put like her books down once I start them. It's like, and so there's 3 books from her. Taken. Oh, what's the other ones? There's a whole series from Avon Impulse. It's like Taken is one of them. I gotta find out. Oh. Okay, I will find out and let you know. So Taken, probably by Charlotte Stein. I also read The Girl in the Train, which isn't a romance, but I couldn't put that down either. What else have I read so good lately? You're Still the One by Rachel Harris, which you'll be shocked to know does not have sex in it, or it fades to black. But it was the happiest book. Like, I was filled with joy the whole time I read it. Rachel's a friend of mine. I read it before it came out, and I was just like, oh, this is like sinking into a hot tub with a glass of wine. I was so corny about it, but she you know, she picked up what I was putting down. So anyways, yeah, You're Still the One by Rachel Harris, Taken by Charlotte Stein, The Girl in the Train. Everybody's reading that. What else do I have here? Oh my God, my brain is just blank. Oh, The Game Plan by Kristen Callahan. I mean, come on. Let me see. I'll think of more and get back to you. Okay. Someone's calling me sexy. Jillian's calling me sexy. Thank you. I needed that. Okay. Oh, Lisa's asking when my birthday is, and it's actually in like a week. It's February 5th. Yeah, 1984, but February 5th, and my husband is going all out because I don't know if you guys saw that he got me, oh my God, I have it. For Christmas, he bought me a syringe-shaped bottle of like age-defying lotion for your eyes. Like, this is what he bought me for Christmas. It's heinous. And I held on for like, if you guys didn't read the post I did on Facebook, like I held on for like an hour and a half on Christmas morning without breaking down into tears, and then I finally did. And so now I think he's taking me to a Broadway show or something, and dinner. everybody's in on it but me. My parents know about it. But yeah, February 5th. So like literally next week. I'm an Aquarius to the core. And yeah, that's my answer. Okay, so I feel like I missed some. Okay, Dulcie is asking, hi Dulcie. I met Dulcie in Florida and she's the sweetest thing and wonderful. Okay, Austin takes a path that's a bit atypical for your heroes who take on all the responsibility, in all caps. In that he chooses, it moved. In that he chooses not to involve himself in his spoilers life. Wait, I'm missing it. Oh yeah, in his daughter's life. Is that what you're asking? I think that's what she's asking. Yeah, I think that in the end of Up in Smoke, it says he has a daughter, so I don't think that's a spoiler. I think we're okay there. But yeah, Austin has a 3-year-old daughter, and you know, it was better for the little girl if it was better for the little girl and Austin and everybody involved that if he didn't get involved in her life, you know. I'm all for the hero fighting for their children in books like Jonah did in Owned by Fate. But in this case, I think his daughter was probably better off with, I didn't think it was appropriate for him to become involved in her life with what he had going on. I still think at the end of the book, he was still growing, even as a person, and maybe not ready to be a father. So yeah, that was, I didn't feel like the book needed like a big reunion between father and daughter. And I don't think it would have been authentic because I think it's okay for him to admire her or even love her in a certain way from afar, but to be involved, it didn't feel like it rang true for the character. So I hope that answered that okay. Okay. So Deanna Lynn. Hi, Deanna. What is your favorite thing about creating a new book hero? Well, I think the ugly part, probably. When I was in art, I went to a convention in New Orleans. It's been like a year and a half, and yeah, the RT convention in New Orleans. And this author at a panel said that before she starts writing her characters, she writes like that character's greatest shame, and she writes like the actual scene of it happening. Like she's there with them and she witnesses this terrible thing in their life with them, and then she starts her book after having written that scene, and she feels like she knows them inside and out because she knows their greatest shame. And while I don't go that far, or I don't always go that far, I have, but I think it's really important to know their worst moment. What makes, like, what's the worst thing that could ever happen to your hero? And once you know that, you make it happen to them. Awful. Let me just. So I think that's probably where I start. I start with what's wrong with them. Like, why haven't they met Mrs. Right yet? Why are they looking? What drives them? You know, and where does it all come from? What's that one moment in their life that made them who they are? I think that once you know that about your character, things fall into place a lot easier once you know that. So I hope I answered that well enough, Deanna. Thank you. Thanks for the question. It was a good one. Let's see. Angela Kinney. Hi, Angela. She's asking, I have to say the scenes you write are really creative. So I love them. The tied to a chair scene totally captivated my imagination. Where do you get these ideas for those kinds of scenes? Actually, there's a funny story behind the silk rope tied to the chair scene. Well, it's not that funny, but when I was researching, like, I wanted Polly to have some sort of tool at her disposal, but she's she's so much a novice at like, you know, taking control like that, that nothing was realistic enough. I mean, I researched sex toys like up the yin yang, and like, wait, that sounds bad. Like I didn't put them up my yin yang. Like I researched it, and you know, everything was like a little bit too advanced or like a little bit too contraption-y, like, you know, like penis device, like cages and stuff like that. I was like, that just wasn't, it was sexy to some people, I'm sure. And it's probably would be sexy to me if somebody else was doing it. But for Austin and Polly, it didn't work. So I had to come up with something that was essentially like home. Oh, I have a friend who's a mistress, like a professional mistress with a capital M, and she recommended all these cock teasing toys to me, and nothing felt right. This is what I talk to my friends about, and so I kind of came up with the silk cord like out of nowhere. I don't even know if that's actually something that people use on a regular basis, but it was like I wanted a homemade feel of it. I didn't want it to feel like BDSM. Essentially, I wanted it to feel like something natural that happened, that Polly got a hold of and felt like confident enough to use. And I don't know where that idea came from, but that was a really hard scene to write because the mechanics of it, of like the cord being looped behind the legs of the chair and then around his arms and then around his dick. I mean, that was it was like, you know, I may or may not have tried it out. May or may not, like with a carrot. But yeah, that was I don't know where that idea came from, except that I wanted to make him hurt. You guys are probably like, wow, Tessa's sadistic. We had no idea. It's true. Okay. Dulcie is asking, she said, how does Derek feel about his little mod squad? And how does Ginger feel about it? Well, I'd have to ask them. I'd have to like think about that and sit down and write that scene because, well, I think Derek is like, I think in each book of the Crossing the Line series, like you kind of see that he's like really kind of becoming more and more driven in that captain position. And, you know, Ginger would support that 100%, I'm sure, even though she would probably hate him being in danger or anything like that. I should write a scene with, I think I do actually have a scene in the 4th book, Raw Redemption, where they're like at a barbecue at his house or something and Ginger's there, but I have to double check. If not, maybe I'll write one, because that's something I'd like to know too. Yeah, that's right. I don't know my characters as well as you think I do. I have to ask them and meditate on it. But yeah, I think that Derek feels like he doesn't want to feel any kind of emotional attachment to them, but he does because he's a good man, and he doesn't like putting them in danger, so he puts himself right in it with them. So yeah, I think that it's kind of like the same cycle he went through with Ginger, where he tried not to get too emotionally connected, and he did anyway, and then he threw himself all in because that's the kind of person he is. So yeah, that was good. Okay, let's see. Michelle Harlan. Hi, Michelle. She says, are you planning on any other collaborations similar to the Wedding Dare continuity you did for Entangled? No, I don't think so. Nothing in the pipelines anyway. That was a really hard project, that Wedding Dare series. That took a lot of work, and like we plotted everything in a like Google document, like down to every single minute of that week that the Wedding Dare took place over. And it was a lot of like reading each other's books and editing each other's books. And I don't know if any of us have the schedule for that now. I do think that me and Sophie Jordan will probably do another Off-Base style collaboration though coming up. We've been talking about it since like Off-Base came out, actually probably before, that we want to do it again. So it's just a matter of getting our schedules to sync up. Everybody's a fan of that idea. So yeah, I think probably another Off-Base surprise release somewhere in the next 2 years, but no, probably not another continuity, even though I would do it with those women again in a heartbeat. They were just like a dream to work with, which, you know, in such a hard situation. If anybody had been a diva, it would have been really, really impossible. So the fact they were also like, oh, like Samantha, Katie, and Jen and Laura are like dreams. So nothing but good things to say about those ladies. Tamitra, hi Tamitra. she's been reading me for such a long time, and I appreciate that. She says, I remember actually Tamitra was at like my very first Facebook party the week that Protecting What's His came out. So I remember. She said, of all the sex scenes you've written, which is your fave? Ooh. Oh my God, where are my books? I think, oh my God. That's a really hard question. Probably because it's a sentimental favorite. Probably Derek and Ginger in the bathroom when he takes her virginity. Just because it was like my first sex scene that I've written that was ever published, that was like edited and that, you know, we made shine and everything. So probably that one. But then there's like Bowen and Sarah when she's like laying on the floor of his bedroom and he's like above her and he's in her mouth and he's like having sex with her mouth. That was pretty awesome. That was a pretty awesome one too. I loved that one. Austin and Polly when they broke into the house, spoiler alert, when they break into the house towards the end of the book and he's dressed like a priest and he flips her over and she's got the red polka dot dress on. That was another one of my favorites. I really like that one. Oh my gosh, there's a lot. Beck and Kenna in the pool house when he asked her to call him daddy. I mean, come on. That was some fun stuff. Got me all tingly. Okay, I hope that was good. Okay. Oh, Kim's saying that there's some babes on Facebook panicking they can't find or load the Hangout. I don't know. Ricky, if you're listening, maybe you can go into Bailey's Babes and see what the problem is, because
I'll jump over there. I'll jump over there with the link.
Oh, okay, thank you. Okay, so, okay, let me see. Tamitra is also asking which book was the most difficult to write and which was the easiest. Boiling Point was the hardest to write because I was really worried about taking that risk with Austin and making him somewhat submissive, making him, you know, and not only that, but the thing about Austin is, you know, my heroes tend to be like lovably clueless about their first loves. They don't really know how to read the woman. They don't know how to express themselves to the woman. And Austin he's so smart that he read her before she even knew herself. And so he was a step ahead the whole time. And I think keeping up with Austin was a real challenge. So wasn't just the sexual aspect of the book. It was a lot of just writing from Austin's point of view and that sharp kind of, you know, one up on everybody that he had that was hard to keep up with. I said earlier this week, like I read a book written by a con man, like a real life con man, and that helped a lot to kind of like pinpoint what he was thinking at all times and how he would think and how he would constantly be strategizing to, you know, get favors from people or get the response he wanted from somebody. So that was really hard to stay on top of because I do write heroes that are wonderful and smart and things like, I mean, I think they're wonderful and smart, but they also are kind of like, you know, taking what life throws at them when it comes to these women, where Austin was like directing, you know, how things went behind the scenes. So that was a challenge, but I loved it. The easiest book to write? I have my books up here on the wall. I think, I think probably Dating the Maid of Honor. Oh, I just said it was hard. The project was hard, but the writing of the actual book was really easy. Like, I don't know, something about Reed and Julie were just it just clicked really easily for me. The logistics of the book were a little bit more difficult because I was working with 4 other authors and everything, and 4 other sets of characters. But yeah, Reed and Julie, that was just like, that book just clicked. I think I wrote it like 3 weeks. It was just really quick. So yeah, that was, that's my answer. Okay. Oh, Michelina is asking me, do you know if you'll ever write a book about Shannon from the 7-Year Itch? I always go back and reread that story. For those of you who don't know what she's talking about, I had written a novella called The 7-Year Itch about like a friends to lovers situation that takes place in New York City between a cop and a museum curator. And it's in Bailey's Babes in the File section. You can, if you're not a Bailey's Babe, that's my Facebook, my secret Facebook group. And you can join it. The link's on the homepage of my website, or you can just search it and I'll add you. But yeah, it's a full novella that's just in the file section of Bailey's Babes. And Shannon is who she's asking about, and that's the kid sister of the hero. So she's kind of like troubled and fun. So yeah, I could totally write about her. Maybe I'll like she'll just pop up randomly in another role in another book or something, because I think she was 17 in the book. Okay, yeah, that's a good question. I should take that into consideration. Thanks. Okay. Aw, thanks. Deanna says, I absolutely loved Austin. Everything about him was fantastic. You did amazing things with this character. Thank you so much. That means a lot to me. Lisa is asking, I hope this question isn't too difficult, but is much of what you write dictated by publishers or trends in publishing? In other words, did you feel pressure to do male romance, or a romance where the man was submissive, or any other topic? No, I mean, really nothing. None of my decisions for like coming up with. Pat, yeah, you wanna come in? Do you guys want to meet my husband? Say hi. Hey. He's doing his lineups for fantasy football, so. Golf. Big fantasy golf. Woo! So exciting. Yeah, they can't answer you really except for in text form, but. All right. Tell them I said hi. Okay. All right, bye. They heard you. Okay, thanks. I love you. Oh boy. Okay. So what was it? Oh, have I ever felt any pressure to do anything? No. I've been asked to do certain things. Like my editor at Entangled asked if I wanted to do a male story, and I was like, yeah. Like it probably wouldn't, if she hadn't presented it to me, I might not have done it, because I think I had the whole Made in Jersey series plotted. And then when she said that, I made some changes because I really wanted to explore that. And like there was a BDSM series I did, the Serve series, that someone came to me and asked me if I would be interested in doing a BDSM. I'm really like, I'm so disorganized. Like if something just appeals to me, I go for it. I don't really spend a lot of time, thinking about what trends are hot. Although I probably should. I probably should put some more thought into that. But no, it's all really just on the fly. It's like whatever is feeling good at that moment. So, it's definitely take career advice from me. Thanks, Lisa. Okay. Oh, everybody's saying hi to Pat. Oh. Okay, you guys keep asking questions because we're running out. And is Carrot your pet name for Patrick? Is not a question. Okay. Have you started to write a hero heroine that wasn't working for his or her hero heroine and you had to start over? And that's from Joy. Hey, Joy. Have I ever? No, I don't think so. Huh. Think about that. I think that there was, let me see. I know you keep looking over there, like you guys are like, what's she looking at? No, actually, okay, I'm lying. Off Base originally was, because me and Sophie were like, we should just go balls to the wall and just do something like really crazy, like we've never, done before. And so I was like, well, I'm gonna write a threesome, clearly. So when I first wrote, when I did the proposal chapters for Off Base, it was like Beck had come home and Kenna had just broken up with his best friend. And like they were all in the same apartment together in this really awkward situation where Kenna was there, Beck was there, and then Cullen, who's in the second novella that Sophie wrote, was there, and Kenna and Cullen had just broken up. And he kind of instigates this physical connect, he basically, so Beck is like, he just got back from overseas and he's physically starved for a woman, and then he's physically starved for Kenna when he sees her, and just like he is in the actual book. So Cullen sees that and kind of pushes them together, and he's there in like when they first start to like touch and kiss, and it didn't work. Like it just, I did write, it was kind of a threesome scene, even though Cullen wasn't directly involved physically. He was just there and he was kind of like pushing them together and he was touching them, but like it didn't work. It just didn't work for Beck's, the kind of character that Beck was, the kind of hero, and it just didn't feel good. And so I was kind of like, oh, you're such a cow, you're such a fucking coward, Tessa. But like, I just had to, start from scratch, and what ended up happening worked so much better. People love that story, and so I'm glad that I had the, sometimes it's braver to just stop what you're doing and scrap 10,000 words and start over than it is to soldier on when it doesn't feel right. So yeah, it's that. I've never told anybody that story. Yeah, so Off Base was like totally started off with a threesome before I scrapped it and started over. So the world will never see it. I don't even know where it is. It's probably on a napkin somewhere. So thanks, Joy. Okay. So Demetra's asking, do you have playlists before or after you've written the book? It depends. Like right now, I'm writing Meet the Clarksons. It's a series that starts in May about the family going on the road trip cross country. And I have a playlist for that keeps growing and growing and growing and growing. And it's like, it's weird. It seems like with some books more than others, the music is a factor. Sometimes I write a book and music isn't a factor. Like the Made in Jersey series, for some reason, I'm not coming. The playlist has not been forthcoming. Like I'm usually really quick with that kind of stuff, and I'll look through my phone and I'll be like, oh my god, it's perfect. But for some reason with that series, nothing's coming to me in terms of a playlist. I keep hearing like, Bon Jovi cover bands or like, Springsteen, which isn't bad, but it's just not like, what am I going to just put a playlist of like Bon Jovi and Springsteen out? You guys can download that yourself. So, yeah, the Meet the Clarkson series though, the music it's like so heavy on the music, and every scene is like a different song in my head. So I guess it just depends on the book. Sometimes they come to you and sometimes they don't, So yeah, I feel like my answers are so non-definitive, and I apologize for that, but that's how my brain works. Okay, Deanna Lynn is asking, how much plotting do you do before writing a story, and how much of the story do you have to know before you begin? It's a great question. I'm a pantser. I've always said that. I really am. I will start off with a pretty detailed outline, And it's mostly scenes I need to hit, you know, and when, like scenes that are going to be really important in the character's growth or furthering of the relationship or outside stuff that needs to be integrated at different points throughout the book. And I'll have those beats laid out. And then I get like 30% in and then it all goes out the fucking window. Like every time. I don't know. I just am like, it's like I know my characters going into the book, but then they change faster or slower than I had anticipated, and I have to accommodate that. I think a lot of authors who are probably a lot smarter than me, you know, don't have that problem, but for some reason, it just goes out the window at about 30%. The overall structure doesn't change so drastically, but I do have to like, I move things around pretty heavily. So yeah, I have to know, I mean, before I begin though, I do need to know where I want them to be at the end of it. I need to know where those major growth points are going to be, or what they're going to be, and that sometimes where changes. That's my answer. But yeah, pantser to the core. Seriously, ask my editors. They're like, what is this? What is this? I don't know. Oh, Lisa says, are you familiar with the Gaslight anthem? They're Jersey boys and newer than Bon Jovi or the Boss. Let me write that down. I actually do know the Gaslight anthem, but I haven't listened to them in a while. I know their old stuff more than their new stuff. Good rec. Shamitra is asking, are you working on any projects that we don't know about yet? I'm not working on any projects that you don't know about yet, but there, in 2017, I'm going to do a new adult police academy series set in New York City. So, and that's going to be with Avon Impulse, who I did the Broken Beautiful series with. So, and that'll be like first person, and it'll be dual point of view, male, you know, hero and heroine. But yeah, I haven't really, because it's so far out, like I can't start writing it till the summer. And it won't be out until like mid 2017, but so I don't have a lot of details about it yet. The main character in the first book's name's Charlie. Because I wrote 3 proposal chapters, obviously, but yeah, I don't want to tell you too much about it because again, everything changes. But yeah, new adult police academy series in New York City. It's going to be a lot of fun. So there you go. Axa. Hi, Axa. How are you? She's such a sweetheart. She says, has Patrick read your books, and does he have a favorite book or character? Patrick does not read my books. Wah, wah. I know. He tried with a few of them, and he gets to like the 3rd or 4th chapter, and he's like, this is for girls. I think he gets a complex, you know what I mean? Like, what man wouldn't, when you're writing about like these ripped, you know, muscle-bound men with like giant dicks. Like, what man would want to read that and like know that their wife was thinking about that? Not many, right? So I don't blame him. You know, I wouldn't want to read if he wrote a book like about having sex with women or like perfect women and stuff like that. I probably wouldn't want to read it. So now I'm like mad at him, even though he hasn't written that book. I'm like, asshole. Ugh. Okay. So no, he doesn't have it. Well, it would be Shane though from Unfixable, probably, because Shane's an Irish bartender, so they have that in common. If he did have a favorite character, which he doesn't. All right, we'll be talking about that. See if I can get a good birthday gift out of it too. Okay. Dulcie says, is the police academy going to feature that in-charge female cop you wanted to write? Yes, it is. That's all I'll say about that. Okay. Jennifer. Hi, Jennifer. How are you? She says, was there a reason behind the first person POV and Unfixable, or is that just how Willis started talking to you? I think at that time I'd written most of the Line of Duty series, and I wanted to do something different. And, you know, new adult at that time wasn't so like, I guess the genre wasn't so up for interpretation at that point, and first person was very much like a new adult thing, and I guess that was part of my decision. But I think mostly I just wanted to, yeah, try something new and see if I could do it. Yeah. But I think that actually I don't think I could have written Willa any other way. She just kind of was, I liked being inside her head. It was easy for me to just hit the ground running inside there. So actually when I wrote Unfixable, my editor was like, she does not sound 19. She's way too mature. And she'll tell you I fought with her about it. I was like, I'm not changing it. I'm not really that headstrong when it, well, I am. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. You guys know me. But yeah, there wasn't really a major decision behind that, except for I wanted to kind of go outside my comfort zone a little bit. And I had just been writing so much third person that it seemed like a good idea. It's just like all my other decisions, whatever I'm thinking at the moment is what's gonna happen. Kim is asking, where in the world do you come up with all the things your dirty talking alphas say? You should publish a how-to for men everywhere. It's not a bad idea. I don't, somebody did ask me this earlier, and I said, I don't really know where it comes from. It's just kind of, what makes the scene for me. It's like, it's, okay. Well, I think that women maybe deep down want to feel a little bit objectified in bed. And I do. And not outside of bed. And as long as there's really healthy respect between the hero and heroine, I think it's okay for that to happen when they're having sex. And I think that a lot of that comes from my desire to just for like that period of time to feel like an object of desire and filth, and just like what's driving this animalistic man to want you so badly. And I think that should be like messy and dirty and hot, and it should be like almost like yeah, like I really do write men when they're having sex, kind of I think of them as animals, and it works for me. I like it. So I think that might be where it comes from, in one way. I hope that was a good answer. I'm like, it's nice to be objectified, and at a context that would sound terrible, and I don't think that women should be objectified. I just think that like there's like sometimes in bed you want to be like this reason that the man is like all worked up. So and the things they say are what bring that across. Their actions do it away, but I mean words for me are more powerful. So thanks, Kim. Okay. Mickey is asking, Tessa, do you always get to pick your book covers? No. I do have a lot of input though. I do. Like Boiling Point, I picked that picture off a stock photo site and begged my editor to use it. She actually doesn't like the book cover, I don't think, very much, but I loved it. So that one I had a lot of input on. I had a lot of input on the Broken Beautiful series pictures. Some of those I found, I found myself. I think earlier on, like Off Base, I found that picture myself. Earlier on, like with the Line of Duty series, I didn't think I could have as much input as I did, and so I'd get the email from my editor, and that would be it. That would be the cover, and I always loved them, so it was not a factor. But as like you start to publish a few more books, you feel like you have more of a voice, and you feel more confident in speaking up. So now, yeah, I do have a lot of input on them. and it's, you know, it's great when you do, because it means your publishers value your opinion, and that's great for a relationship to have that kind of input. So I have seen the picture that's going to be on the cover of the Too Hot to Handle in May, and I'm really excited to see the rest of it, like the background of the title and stuff, and it's hot. So stay tuned for that. Okay. Jennifer is asking, she's just commenting on what she said earlier. She said, I loved Willa and really thought first person work for that book. Looking forward to more new adult from you. Thanks, Jennifer. Lisa is asking, is there a heroine of yours that feels most like you? Yeah, I think I've said, like, you know, Willa is very much like me when I, you know, came to New York for the first time, or I was on my own for the first time. I kind of like had a chip on my shoulder and nobody could give me advice, and I was just like desperate to experience anything out of the ordinary, and that's why it was very, you know, easy for me to write her. Also Roxy a little bit. Roxy and Willa are Roxy from Chase Me. Roxy and Willa are pretty similar, so that's pretty natural jump. Just kind of like fierce independence, almost to a fault. You know, I definitely had that in spades. Like when I first came to New York, I was waitressing at a bar called Katie's, and I just remember wanting to go home this one night, and I had like a really bad night waitressing, and people were complaining, and it was busy and overcrowded, and the smoking ban hadn't taken effect, so I smelled like smoke, and I was only 18, and I got in my car and drove to Queens and like sat on some random curb, which I don't recommend. And like this man was like, get your shit together. this stranger, and I was still like wearing my apron from work and everything. And I feel like that was a really, you know, that was like a moment that would happen to Willa or Roxy or any of them, the heroines really. So yeah, I would say, you know, Willa or Roxy are a little bit like me, but I think that, you know, there's a little, like, you know, you put a little bit of yourself in every character, even some of the guys maybe. Thanks Lisa. Okay. Dulcie says, so does this mean you're looking to write a threesome in the future? I see those Pinterest boards. I don't know. I don't have any coming down the pike at the moment. I want to though. I really do. But I think like my heroes maybe are a little bit too possessive for like a threesome scene. Like beyond one scene, I don't think I could write like a full book around a relationship like that, because my you know, I tend to favor heroes who are like one woman, like that's it. She doesn't talk to anybody else but me. I don't talk to anybody else but her. That's it. We're exclusive. So I think it's a challenge. I don't think I could take on writing a full book around that kind of relationship. That's not to say that like some authors can't pull that off. Like, you know, polyamorous relationship that is healthy. I think that other authors can do that very well, and with possessive heroes to boot. Like Kit Roca, you know, she's like dynamite at that. But I can't. Not that good at it. Okay, let me see. Okay. Jennifer is asking, any difficulties writing the male book, or has it shaped up the same as your male-female books? So excited for that one, by the way. I haven't written it yet. So right now I'm doing a lot of reading because it is my first male book and I want to make sure I get it right. So I'm reading a lot of Damon Suede and Megan Erickson and God, who am I thinking of that wrote the one with the guy in the shower? Now I can't think of. But I'm doing a lot of research right now, and I haven't started it yet. Right now, I'm writing the third book in the Made in Jersey series, which is Duke's book, and it'll come out in August. And then the Mail book comes out December 2016. So I have some time to write it, and I'm just really trying to make sure I do it justice, because, you know, the people that like Mail, like, they are, you know, sticklers for authenticity, and so there won't be any glossing over, you know, like the deed, the use of lube, and I'm just making sure I get it right. Let's not go into detail, but, you know, so I haven't written it yet, but I'm really excited for it too. I'm like, I have it in my head. I have the characters interacting in my head now already. And I can tell you that it's going to be a very antagonistic relationship. They actually do show up in Duke's book, in the third Made in Jersey book, and you kind of get a taste of the animosity there. So it's going to be angry and hot. So look forward to that. Maureen. Hi, Maureen. How are you? She says, hi, Tessa. I absolutely love the origin stories you create for your heroines. Thank you for that. To see them overcome their past traumas to find their HEA is beyond awesome. Which one was the hardest to come up with or help overcome their issues? Definitely Erin in Up in Smoke. Erin had like extreme claustrophobia that led to like kind of a fixation on fire, and she was, you know, she ended the book still with a lot of the same problems. Like, she wasn't completely cured by the end of the book, and I don't think I could have cured her in a book. But definitely Erin, you know, thinking of her being locked in a closet for like extended periods of time, and then having the same situation occur in prison, like where she was locked in solitary confinement, and you know, hearing voices and sounds, and that was really hard to write. And like, again, she did overcome the claustrophobia, because it was something that was like almost like a signal of trust between her and Connor when she finally did, and she was able to like let him, you know, tie her up, which was huge. So she did overcome it in a way, but, you know, I don't think people need to be completely cured at the end of a book. I think it's okay to go on with those issues. But I definitely think Erin, she was a toughie for me. Thanks for asking. Okay, so Shili is asking, what's a dirty or secret trope that you absolutely crave to read? I mean, I guess I had like oh man, I don't know. I can't even say this. Like, well, I guess, okay. Well, Best Friend's Little Sister, you know, is definitely something that's a turn on for me and that I like to read about. Something where you know, they've known each other from from an early age, and the forbidden romance. I'm like, how secret or dirty are we talking here? You know, like, just don't like look at my web history. But yeah, definitely I like that. You know, I love the forbidden love aspect of that, like Best Friend's Little Sister or Professor Student, which I kind of explored in Need Me. That was something that had been like gnawing at me for a long time that I got to dive into. So yeah. Thanks for asking. That's a good question. AXA is asking, what author really, this is going to be the last question, because it's getting to be 9:30, and I'm going to announce the winner of the paperback after this. So, okay, so what author really inspired you to write, and that has a style you love? Which author inspired me to write? Julie Garwood and Sandra Brown, and I mean, so many others. Like, I read historical for the longest time, like throughout all my teens. So like actually historical and paranormal. like through my teens and early 20s, and still to now. And yeah, I'd have to say Julie Garwood really is probably my biggest inspiration. I think I've read all of her books like 75 times, and they're all worn out. And she writes those heroes with the heart of gold that are, one woman men, and when they meet the one, that's it. They're focused on the one. So that's something I always wanted to emulate. And yeah, I would definitely say Julie Garwood. So I mean, I could never write. She's like so out of my league. But and then Cressley Cole, that's another one who I read, and I can't believe she's even real. She's so talented and amazing. So yeah, I mean, every author I read though really does inspire me. So all of them. Is that an answer? Okay. Okay. Lisa, one more question. Lisa says, would you ever consider doing a stepbrother romance? And no, I wouldn't. There's nothing wrong with it, but I think it's like Brennan's chorus, like now at this point. So, I feel like I would be diving into like waters that have already been tested. And I certainly would read one though. Might be reading one now. So, okay, well, that was it for me. I hope that you guys had a good time and that my questions were coherent. It's a good chance they weren't, but that went really fast, right? And thank you for asking questions, you guys. That means a lot to me that you came and stayed for the whole hour and cared enough to ask. That's awesome. So the winner of the paperback of Boiling Point is Tamitra Cozier Bob. I hope I pronounced that right. So congratulations to Tamitra. And I think I already have her address because she's won in the past, but not recently. So maybe it's a new address. I don't know. I'm telling you guys everything you don't need to know. Tamitra, just message me on Facebook with your address and I'll send this out this week. Thank you, you guys. And again, thanks for coming, and all your questions were awesome. So this is Tessa Bailey signing off. What do I do here? Do I just hit the hang up button? Okay, bye guys, love you. Talk to you on Facebook probably tonight. So bye.